wife problem, your husband problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen. But it's amazing to see it. So relax. So I asked the question, are you better than a child molester? I've discovered over the 30 years of counseling, the one thing that's missing, and I think because it's not taught in the homes or talked about, we don't have examples of it, right, is love. Our theme this year is to bring back Christianity, to love God with all our heart, soul, and might, our neighbor as ourselves, and to endure. And there, when you're in a fallen state, people will judge the molester but think they're better than the molester. And I ask, well, why do you think you're better? When I realized it doesn't matter what you think about yourself or how much you have or don't have or how you accomplish things in life or don't. If you have no love, you have nothing. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thanks for tuning in on this fine Wednesday. Nice to have you all here. A pleasure to be back because I got a bit of a show for you. We're going to be having some fun today, dealing with a couple things, breaking news moments, so to speak. Trump versus Cyril Ramaphosa. He gave him the Zelensky treatment, and the clips are amazing. And you know, we've been talking about the South Africa thing, and it's pretty interesting to see the president deal with this on a global stage, saying the things that people are thinking, and when up against their quasi-intellectual arguments to justify hatred and violence, he just deals with it so well. So I think we're going to be getting into some of that. There's a couple of things I want to get into, okay? I think we're going to be having some fun today. I appreciate you all tuning in. I'm going to derail the show a little bit. I'm going to get to calls right away here. So, but don't worry. I think you'll enjoy it. I think we are all God's anchor babies on this earth, says Belchan 222. What a love what a nice, is that a nice statement or is that a communist statement from Belchat? Thank you so much. Appreciate everybody being here. You could call in to the show 888-775-3773 if you got something to say. Like I said, we're going to get to a call here right away. But other than that, what can I say? A little housekeeping. Okay, come on in. Water's fine. You're kicking it back. You're enjoying. You're sitting back. You're waiting to see what's up. But it's not your first time here. And you know you're going to be here the whole time. Like, it's like you're going to eat the whole meal, and then you're going to complain. You're going to be like, excuse me. Yeah, I didn't like this meal. I'm going to want a refund. It's like, click the like button. Don't be rude. Show some decorum. Say hello. And maybe some of you want to reserve your like button. It's okay. But don't be rude. Say hello. Leave a comment. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Other than that, welcome to the show. What can I say? Everybody on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola, and punchy.tv. Thank you, everybody. And, of course, my viewers here on Rumble. So, we're going to jump into what I want to jump into here. But first, folks, please, I want you all to welcome Mace out of Dayton, Ohio. How you doing, Mace?
Hello, Nick. How are you today?
All is well, Mace. All is well.
What happened to we always scream about freedom of speech, but when you give your freedom and what you think, you got some people get upset because they don't want you to express what you think. That's what they tried to do to Joel.
Is that what happened?
He was expressing what he thought about what happened to the Africanos coming over here, and you putting people out, but you bringing them in, and then you got some people talking about desirable. You don't know what's desirable in this country, and you don't. I mean, you might have grew up around Hispanics, but there's some rich ones and there's some poor ones. And you always talk about what they get from the medical center. You don't know what they're doing because you don't work in those offices to know. You're just spreading words that you heard somewhere else and carrying it along. And as I say, God gave all of us a right to be here, and he gave all of us a road. So on one group of people think they're only supposed to have the road and the desire to tell people what they need to do and what they need to say. And everybody else don't count.
So you can't tell Mace what's good for you and what isn't?
Who?
You, Mace. How did you put it
I
exactly?
know what's good for me is to treat everybody as if they were human beings and not animals.
Hold on, Mace. How did you put it exactly?
I said God gave all of us the road.
But you said something like that people don't know what's good and bad. You know, there's rich and poor Hispanics. How exactly did you put that?
Some people don't know what's good or bad, or think that everything is supposed to be bad because they think so.
You're saying the people don't know. Do you know, Mace?
Of course you know good people.
Oh, so you do know. And you decide between them?
Yes, I decide between them.
Oh, okay. But here you are criticizing others for the very thing you're doing.
I'm not criticizing. I'm giving my opinion, my freedom of speech.
And
That's
you're welcome to do it, Mace. Thank you.
And I'm supposed to have
it. And I'm using my free speech to respond. Listen, you're criticizing others for what you're doing.
No, I'm criticizing. I'm talking about others with the.
You said you're criticizing the world for not knowing. They don't know what to decide between these immigrants. Like there's poor and rich Hispanics. Don't start. You don't know what's good and bad. But here you are deciding between good and bad people around you.
You know how I decide. You know how I decide. By being and associating myself with them. That's how I.
So we're not in disagreement on that. People are allowed to associate how they wish, and you're not going to blame them for that.
No.
Okay.
But then you have this one group that sit up here. Everything that somebody except them did to come into this country is bad. And like Joel was saying, everybody in this country that came here, some been sent away. But the new ones.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because here's the point on that. And you bring up to summarize is the point on fairness. There's a lot of assumptions going around that these white South Africans are going to be good immigrants or et cetera. But here's the point on that, Mace. You and anybody bringing that up is only bringing that up after the fact. You understand? So you have this messed up immigration, blah, blah, blah. You bring in anybody, you start questioning, you say, hey, those are a lot of men. Those are a lot of fighting age males in those groups. Where are the women and children? You start asking those questions. What was it for decades? You're racist. It's all this. The moment you bring in 59 measly white South Africans, it's like fairness, da-da-da. And some, I think, is the point is, that's the point, Mace. It's that commentary came after the fact, revealing the anti-white bias.
But what my point is you complaining about a border bringing people coming in. You shouldn't even be bringing anybody in unless you're going to keep what you're doing. Because who's over there destroying those people's countries? The reason why they're trying to get here.
I'm glad we're finally having a conversation about it. You seem to caught up. Thank you, President Trump, for bringing light to it by bringing in the 59 white South Africans. Because now we got Mace. Now we got Mace wanting to have a reasonable conversation about immigration and who should be coming in and not.
That's right. Who should be coming in? Who shouldn't be?
Right. Suddenly you want to have that conversation when that wasn't allowed. You understand? We wouldn't even be having that conversation.
Having the conversation about the border.
But now you want to say, well, hold on. Let's be selective on who comes in, Mace. So let me ask you, Mace, what is your criteria? Who do you want to be selective about?
Criteria. If anybody in your country bombing you and you don't have no resource to fight them back, and then you have a place that's going to take you in to get you away from it, that's the people that should be coming in here.
Can you repeat that?
You don't have equal opportunity to fight, neither do you. And those people coming from the different countries.
So let me ask you again. What was in your mind? What would be your criteria on who gets to come in and who doesn't?
Yes, if you have somebody destroying your country, and you don't have nothing to fight back with, who's there to take care of you, and what you gonna do? Just like I told you,
in a lot of cases, there's not much you can do. What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. So why do you think Ilion and all of those people came here? Did they come here because they just loved America and wanted to ease across the border?
I mean, are you implying that that's not why they wanted to come over? It wasn't because they loved America, but because where they were from is a mess. Is that what you're saying?
The countries was the way they should be, and people would leave them alone. They wouldn't have to come here.
Oh, are you? Well, see, there's a lot of implication going on, but let me just lay it out clearer for my audience who might
lay that one out.
But let me lay it out. You're saying she wants me to lay it out. She's like, do it, Nick. Well, basically, you're saying that if America and these white people, the Europeans didn't mess with these countries, Ilhan Omar wouldn't have had to come here because whatever she's from is such a ish-hole. That's what you're saying, right? If we just didn't mess with them, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, why are they here? Why are they coming?
Well, we both agree that. Let me explain, because we both were in the middle of a conversation, and you were asking why are they coming, and we both agreed that their country is a mess. And then you went into this implication, and we're trying to figure that out. You're saying, why are they coming here? Well, are you implying that some other actor in the world has ruined Ilhan Omar's country, and that forced her to come here? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And who is this foreign actor that did that?
I don't know who it is.
Oh, so you don't even know. So you don't know what you're talking about.
So maybe you know.
No, I don't. I'm asking you.
Like I told you, I said some can come on planes and some can walk across the border. Those that come on planes, it doesn't matter. It's just like Elon came over here, supposed to be the richest man in the world.
No, that's an old argument.
Mace. He get welfare to anybody.
You're
when
switching.
You hear these people screaming about somebody getting.
I finally have Mace on the ropes. This is maybe one of few times I have her on the ropes. Here she's switching the argument up. She's going back to the old argument of, well, why are you wanting to protect the border if they could just fly over, Mace? We're not even talking about that.
That's not what I said. That's the one.
But that's an old one, Mace. Here's the point. The problem with is even if they were flying over, Mace, if you built a wall, you would stop those.
I mean, that's what they're having a fit about. These Americans are having a fit about somebody coming across the border through the wall, but not those that get on the airplane and come through.
You say what?
They're not running from nobody or nothing.
Oh, who?
Those are government assistant people because the state brought those.
Yeah.
The state paid for them to come here, didn't they? They didn't pay.
You're talking about all these immigrants, right?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the Afrikaners. The state paid for that.
I thought you were. You sounded like you were describing every single immigrant, pretty much the vast majority of the immigrants that come here. Would you disagree?
No, I'm about the Afrikaners.
Would you be surprised if I misunderstood that in that way?
Why didn't Elon take the money he had since he's the richest man in the world and pay for it? Not the state, not our tax dollars. Why didn't he take the money he got from us as an anchor baby, like you?
Yeah.
And other people? So why didn't he take the money and pay for them to arrive on the plane, not take the American money?
For the Afrikaners?
Yes.
Because they're refugees in this case.
Oh, yeah, they're not refugees. Refugees to what?
Well, the persecution of the government, the stated persecution of the government of the Afrikaners in South Africa.
What I'm saying, if they got a place. They got a place to go, but since they were criminals, they won't let them
Maze,
in.
there's stadiums of
Come
people.
over here.
Maze, what would you say? What would you say?
I don't care if they don't like it, but
if there was a stadiums of people in America chanting, "Kill the Negro," what would you say? And then Trump came out and said, "Hey," and then Trump came out and said, if it was stadiums of them, and the government was friends with all these people, but then when asked about it, Trump said, "Hold on, that's them. I'm not saying that." What would you say?
I wouldn't say what I say today. He was just like he said over there when he was over there in Dubai. These some rich people over here with the Muslims. These some rich people. They got plenty of money. So what is he telling you as an American?
I don't know. I don't think you even answered my question.
People, these are some rich people. He's supposed to be rich. Now, rich people don't go sit around and talk about richness. And he said they got plenty of money. So in other words, because they plenty of money, what are you going to get some of it and put it in his pocket, or he going to give it to the American people? Since they hate Muslims.
I don't know. I don't think you even answered my
the
question.
Muslim ban.
But
that's why.
Last thing.
Nick,
go
ahead.
Muslims.
They banned the Muslims and sent them away the last time he was in office. So now you bring your Afrikaners over here.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that picture?
Nothing.
Yes, it is.
Why? What's wrong with that picture?
You figure that.
I want to know. I don't see anything wrong with that picture. Is there something I'm missing?
And then, like I said, Joel said, why you got to bring one group in and send another group out?
Again, on the thing about fairness, that's all that commentary is coming after the fact.
It's not fair.
No. So you understand that even uttering that is at the core of unfairness. To even ask, where's the fairness in bringing in the South Afrikaners? You are peddling in the very same unfairness that is making you mad about it in the first place.
I'm not mad. I'm just giving
or whatever, disagreeing with it in the first place.
There's angry people that do that.
Fine.
And it's like you because
just disagreeing with it in the first place.
They're trying to figure the birthright.
You understand?
Birthright.
You understand what I said? But anyways, last thing.
They're trying to put them out
last thing. Who was silencing Joel? It sounded like he was on his own show talking about what he wanted.
They don't want him to have his opinion.
Who was silencing him?
And some people got upset about it.
Oh, you got upset about it? No, anyways, I'm just messing around now. I'm just messing around now. What else? Last thing you want? Last thing you want to say?
As I said, those Afrikaners that came over here, we don't know what kind of people they are.
That's not
again. They were good.
See, again. This is again on the argument of fairness. Oh, we don't know if they're going to be good immigrants. Is not even the point. Again, the reason you're even asking that is because you're asking that after being shown these people, and now you want to be suddenly fair.
I'm talking about the way those people came in here.
If you want to say that it's unfair. Listen to this one. To say that it's unfair, and to bring in the white South Afrikaners, that it's unfair. To say that it's unfair is to say that you want to continue the unfairness that has been going on, that has kept them out, that has had the whole world say they are not a refugee when literally everybody else could be a refugee, that has had the UN and literally no international organization recognize it as a genocide. To say that it's unfair to bring in the white South Afrikaners is to want to either ignorantly or actively continue in that same discourse, that evil narrative, in my opinion.
That's not what I'm saying. You don't get it. If they're going to bring one group in, they should bring everybody else in that's having problems in their country.
You said what?
If they're going to bring one group of people in, they should bring all the other ones in, too.
No, they shouldn't. Why?
What about
Why?
Palestinians? They shouldn't come in here?
No, we don't want Palestinians. They're crazy.
For what reason?
They bomb stuff. Literally no Arab country wants the Palestinians. The Egyptians don't want them. Libya doesn't want them. Syria doesn't want them. Literally nobody over there wants the Palestinians. You do.
Why don't they want?
Maybe ask yourself why, Maze. And here's some homework for you. No. You always ask me the same thing. You're like, I don't know. You ask why, Mace. You always like, Nick, figure it out. How about this one, Mace? You figure this one out. Why does no country want the Palestinians?
You tell me. I'm waiting for you to tell me.
I'd be happy to tell you. I'm not gonna just throw you away. But basically, they're a problem.
Yeah,
a lot of radicalism and terrorism and criminality and
where you get that from?
From the Egyptians themselves, from the people.
No, I didn't get that from my Egyptian friends. It's just a made-up story that they tell. Just like they talk about the black people. That's a made-up story that they tell to make themselves feel good.
Maybe that's somewhat maybe in some part. But I'll put it like this. The reason I'm saying maybe is that in some part maybe it's mere politics to not have to take on. Put it like this, Mace. But put it like this, Mace. Why does every country in the world have to take on the problems of others in that way? You're saying if I'm agreeing, look, I'm giving you, I'm like agreeing with you in part so that we may have this final part of the conversation. Take it in. Put it like this. If I can agree with you somewhat that, like, let's say it's just politics, they're lying about how the Palestinians act. Why isn't it their right to do that, though? Why should they have to accept them? If it's merely, I don't want them because it would just be a trouble, I have to feed all these people, why a country should be allowed to say that?
They're not
it might be complicated. I might be simplifying things, but what do you think about that?
It'll go like this. I think about Canada and why they upset with America. That's the only answer I can give you.
Say it again?
Canada and America.
Well, I hope they
only
figure it
answer
out.
I can give you. And when you figure that one out, you will figure out everything else.
She left me with homework again on the ropes. How did this happen?
If you can figure that out.
How did it get flipped on me?
Why Canada got to be a part of America?
Maze, this was my show. I was the winner.
No. I'm not winning, losing. I don't do that.
That's right. That's why Maze stays winning, because she's not thinking she's not thinking she's fighting.
Are they upset with them?
Because, well, honestly, they're the world doesn't like a man wanting to make things happen in the right way for his country. Essentially,
really?
Yeah. It bothers. It shakes up the status quo. It was nice. We were getting paid. It was nice before you came around. It's trying to shake things up to do things right, Mr. Trump. That's essentially my quick answer for you.
It's shaking up stuff, but it ain't nothing where America looking great in the shake up through nature. It's shaking up some stuff. You look at these states that where storms coming to and it's going through like it was ravishing. It looks like a war zone when it finished. So I wonder why that's happening.
I don't know.
Leave that with you. And for thinking people, they understand what I said. And for those that can't think, too bad for them. One day they'll realize what's going on. Have a good one.
Have a good one, Maze. Call me again. Lord. Did I just get rope-a-doped once again? I had her there, though. I had her there good. I had her there for a moment there. You know? I think I was doing fine there for a moment. You know, but I got some other stuff for you, and I want to get back to my callers here. Appreciate you holding 888-775-3773. Approximately 87% of white South Africans are Christian. Oh wait, what Derek was saying something to me? No, because they're not white Christians. Approximately 87% of white South Africans are Christian. Oh, I must have missed something she even said. That sounds like an interesting tidbit there, Derek. In response to something Maze may have said. It's gone now, but for the chat who is understanding what Derek is saying, I hope it hits. Maze infinity forever. Can we get Mazes in the chat, please? Mazes in the chat for Maze. Let's see, how should I do this? Because if I start talking about what I got for all of you, I'm just gonna go off for a bit, I think. So, honestly, we got to get to William out of California. Sir, you're on the air. Appreciate your call. William out of California, we got you there? Mic check. We'll get back to you. Oh, what's up, William?
Yeah.
How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
Hey, man, what's going on?
No complaints here. All is well.
What's the subject and what's the uproar today, and what's made putting her beak in the grass for now?
Did you hear her?
Yeah, I heard her.
You had something to say about it? You were thinking about Maze a bit?
The Africans that are coming over here because President Trump personally brought them over here, and that's the way it goes. And that's it. And there's no fairness in asylum seeking. It's done by choice by whoever the commander-in-chief is at that time. And that's the way it goes.
That's pretty matter of fact, and I gotta say, it's the more I think about it, it's a nicer point. The more I think about it, because it really, I mean, Biden decided Venezuelans had to come in, like, and nobody said anything.
He did it. He did it the way he wanted to do it. And Mr. Trump is doing it the way he wants to do it. And that's the way it goes. And there's nothing anybody can do about it.
When you think about what you said, the Supreme Court agrees with you. They said the whole idea of can Trump take away the temporary protective status of those Venezuelans?
Everything is.
Yeah,
everything
the Supreme Court said, "Hey, this is the president's job. That's what he gets to do."
He's winning, and they hate it. They are here because he brought them here. Elon Musk is a citizen. He does not have to pay for it. That's stupid too. That is just totally stupid. Now, I don't. We already paid to bring him over here with taxpayer dollars. Stupid.
Oh yeah, what was that about Elon, the plane thing? Yeah, I didn't even get that.
The stupidity is what that's all about. Just calling in to say anything and don't know nothing about nothing.
These are shots.
You ain't nothing.
These are cannon shots over the bow. It's making me nervous.
Taking in water, okay? You ain't running nothing. You ain't got nothing. You ain't doing nothing, and you ain't nothing. He brought him here, and ain't nothing you can do about it. That's it. Fair
enough. You're gonna start World War Maze, man. I'm looking for the diplomatic option here. I'm trying to be JD Vance in this operation here. Looking for the diplomatic option here. Find the off ramp, sir. Find the off ramp.
Seriously, dude. Whatever.
No, I'm messing around. Whatever. Find commentary.
Yep. So it's nothing you can do about it. They're here, and what are you gonna do? Nothing. So whatever. And it's 50, it's the fabulous 59 versus 20 million. I'm pretty sure they were vetted, Mace.
I think Trump said that too in this thing I'm going to play against.
It's a little easier to vet 59 than it is 20 million, Mace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if they were, look, I really don't want to discount that as like like suddenly we're ignoring if they're good or not immigrants. Like I'm not, with what I'm about to say, I'm not saying discount that, but consider for a moment that the argument has really nothing to do with that. Even if they were bad immigrants, the point is that everybody is saying, hey, well, that's not fair after the fact, right? After they're coming in.
Nothing about it.
Right, without knowing.
Know the process. Right. Don't even know the process. Don't know the difference between an illegal and an immigrant and asylum seeking. Don't know nothing about none of that. And calling into the show talking about what's fair. Asylum seeking is not fair. And the world is not fair.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Anyways.
Anything else? Have you known anything to be fair?
Yeah. Yeah, I just personally no. I mean, I'm not using that as an argument for anything, but fair enough, William. Loud and clear.
All right. Hey, Nick, take it easy, man. I'll let you get another
call me again, sir.
All right.
All right. 888-775-3773. We're going to get back to calls here, but I got to jump into this. Let's see here. Because we haven't even gotten into any show stuff. And we got super chats and callers coming in. I will get to you. 888-775-3773. It's just, allow me to pull up the news here. Call it breaking news. I'm sure you can call it many things. Wait, hold on. I'm a little confused here. Where's all my stuffs? What happens if I... Hold on. We are looking for something very, very important. This is, in fact, very, very important. Okay. Anyways, okay, let me just unmute all this. I'm a little confused here. What happens if I play this? Nice. Okay, so we got a little bit of news here. And, I mean, essentially, you have a representative here with a little bit of news. And Representative Nancy Mace, you may know her. Representative Nancy Mace posted on X the other day. In fact, maybe even just yesterday. In a piece of breaking news, an important moment in American political history here. Representative Nancy Mace writes on her personal X account, she writes, "Yes, I'm going there. Today, I will show my naked body. Representative Nancy Mace, we appreciate your service. We appreciate the work you do for America. Representative Nancy Mace is going there, and she's going to show her naked body. This woman, I've talked about it before. And you guys, hold on, we don't need Lil Nick here right now. Hold on. And she's got some news for you, okay? And people, they saw this. Many were excited. Some a little disappointed. But that's the news, the big news. So Representative Nancy Mace will be, in fact, showing her naked body. Okay, look, that's real. Like, she did write that on her ex. She really did. And she's got basically a bit of a crusade. It has a point. There's a point to all of it, okay? Look at her. Nancy Mace, hell of a gal. And here's the thing about Nancy Mace. Honestly, you know, she went on the floor. What happened basically is she shared naked photos of herself during a house. Oh my gosh. Hold on. The internet is difficult to use today. You know. We're frozen. Hold on. Yep, we're frozen. The whole thing's frozen. Okay, allegedly taken without her consent, she shared these naked photos during a House hearing on the floor. She showed her naked body on the floor to the other representatives. Welcome to American politics. And you know what, honestly, I'm looking at Nancy Mace, you know, looking at her a little bit and just kind of who she is a bit. There she is sharing that photo. Now, some were disappointed. You know, they were like, oh, they were cheering. You heard them. And she's just showing like a little silhouette that might even be blurred out, I think. So, you know, some were disappointed. Not me. I mean, honestly, I have enough to eat at home. Doug Ford. But look, people were disappointed. But I'm looking at Nancy Mace a bit. And I just think about her a bit. I'm just thinking, you know, and this is my opinion. I'm thinking this woman, her entire motivation, you know, she's like a representative, right? The United States representative for South Carolina's 1st congressional district. Why would someone do such a thing, really? I mean, the whole point, right, would be to work in government, affect politics for the better, to affect change. Look at her, Nancy Mace. Hell of a gal. Look at that strut. Pink dresses, so vibrant, eye-catching. It seems everywhere she goes, am I just being a misogynist, grabbing attention? Shit, that's our fault, not her. She's not doing that. That's us and our male gaze, right? Strutting her stuff in the hallowed halls of Congress, Representative Nancy Mace. I get this impression. You know, you'd think someone that goes into this line of work, their motivations are, right, maybe sometimes darker motivations, fine, but you can conclude a few of them, right, to affect change, politics, wealth, fame, some whatever. I think some people can be a little more shallow. Their motivations can be a lot, the mind and the ego, the motivations can be a lot more shallow than you think. And do I know this woman? No. I just seen what she's kind of into, what she's about, seen her strutting her stuff. But I get the impression of her motivation. What gets Nancy Mace out of bed to go and do her job? I think it's honest. I think it's to show her naked body on the House floor and tell everybody how she's been raped. I honestly think that's why she does it, and it's just my opinion. But I just know a little thing or two about thrills, and part of her motivation is showing off her intelligentsia, her intelligence, her ample intelligence. You understand here, folks? It's just my opinion. But I gather this from, well, first it's like this impression I have of, consider for a moment Kirsten Sinema. Do you remember her? Kirsten Sinema, former United States Senator. She was a senator. You know, I didn't know much about her, but I remember her being like a lefty Democrat. I think she was maybe a little bit interesting because she went independent, maybe. I forget really. But here's what I do remember about her. Anytime I saw her, it was vibrant clothes. And what, am I going to say she's dressed immodestly, like no woman should be dressed like that? No, I'm not going to say that. Look at her. She's covered up. She's not like that. But consider what her position was, right? She's a senator. Now tell me where I'm wrong. But I get this, I'd say part of me sees not an offense, but how do I put this? It's out of place. You're a senator. You look at other men, how they dress, right? Business, blue worsted suits, the classic language of a man doing business. Blue worsted suits, and it's like, does it seem out of place, a woman here? Oh, with these bright clothes, look, it's not about you. Is that a little bit almost even, now I'm going too far with perverted, right? But it's a little bit, what's the word? You know, kind of goonery. You're kind of into the attention. All attention is at some point sexual in nature, no? Is that me? Am I being too Freudish here? Adding too much of my insanity here? Revealing myself too much? I don't know. But okay, hold on. Let's get back to what we're talking about here. Kirsten Sinema. This impression of women and their motivations and you would think, right, someone in this position, what would be the appropriate attire? Maybe not something so attention grabbing. What motivates Nancy Mace? I don't know. Am I bigoted? What am I? Call me what you might call me, and maybe I'm wrong. You could call me, tell me. But I get this impression. There's a thrill here. But okay, so she shares these photos. What's the point? Why is she doing this? Why is Nancy Mace going on the floor to show these naked photos of herself? Well, it has to do with something she started back in February. And I mentioned this briefly, I think I remember back then. And I found it fascinating. I never really thought much about Nancy Mace. But when I saw this, I was like, okay. She revealed herself to be a feminist, anti-man, off the deep end kind of individual. With what? What am I talking about? Back in February, she went on the House floor and she made a speech where she accused an individual named Patrick Bryant. Okay, this Patrick Bryant is her ex-fiance. She went on the floor to accuse Patrick Bryant of sexual misconduct and accuse him of some pretty serious allegations: rape, sex trafficking, and filming her, saving videos of her non-consensually. And the implication that these videos were, in some cases, sexual in nature. And she even made the allegation that he filmed a rape. Not sure if she meant her rape at the hands of Patrick Bryant, but it was a lot of, oh man, sounds pretty crazy. What are you going to do about all that? So that was February. And so she went on the floor to continue this crusade she's on against this Patrick Bryant, these allegations. And she's made a number of accusations concerning also the governor. The governor whose name is, who's the governor? The governor of South Carolina. The governor's name is Alan Wilson. And she criticized him, again, on this House floor speech, and has done so, I think, multiple times. But definitely the speech criticized this governor for not taking action about her case against Patrick Bryant and her allegations. She says she brought evidence to this Alan Wilson, to the governor, and she criticized him for not bringing action upon it. So sounds pretty crazy, right? It sounds like, wow, here's like a sitting representative making these wild allegations. He's saying not getting any help from the governor. What is going on, right? It sounds wow. But, even going back to February, I was saying even back then, something's just suspect about it. You got to start with in what capacity, in what legal and authoritative capacity did Nancy Mace even make this speech back in February? If you had any kind of scrutinize, if you scrutinize at all anything, I think you'd start there. If you're just like a regular person, I guess, you see a headline, you see person with a title saying this. Wow, sounds like a big deal. They're probably not lying about it. There's probably no other motivations. But if you scrutinize this at all, you'd start with, in what capacity, what legal and what authority did Nancy Mace make this speech? Well, basically how it goes is she has certain privileges afforded to her as a representative of South Carolina's 1st Congressional District, okay? Now, there's a few of them. Namely, the first one here is, put it like this, to describe this accurately, let me tell you, this wasn't during any, during any bill, any debate over a bill. This was during basically at the start of every legislative day in the House of Representatives. You know, they have like a work day. You understand? They have like a work day. And at the start of the legislative day, usually at the start, they have these 1-minute speeches. They have special order speeches, and they have personal privileges. This is outside of any legislative stuff, bills, and all that. It's just part of the process that's afforded to these members. And you could do these 1-minute speeches about anything, special order speeches, and where you can reserve time, typically 5 to 60 minutes, to speak on any subject, and also points of personal privilege. And I don't know if that's a new thing, but basically if a member believes their honor or conduct has been impugned, you can rise to defend yourself under questions of personal privilege. So she had a special order speech where she had a little special topic for her. She had a little pet topic. It just so happens this topic has to do with a serious personal matter of hers where she's involved in a legal proceeding here. And she is under that authority that she went off and made this speech. So she used this platform, her platform as a representative here, to do that. Now, even on that alone, it can raise questions, but not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad on that alone. You know, it's like you have this privilege, and you can use that privilege, and now we'll just judge you on the basis of that use of that privilege. Did you use it correctly? Is this something to write home about, or are you about to lose your seat? I mean, it makes sense to me in my head like that. But we're living in a funny time. We're living in a funny time where the emperor can have no clothes, and you can and nobody will say anything. This is a Republican woman, and if you just scratch at the details here, this is crazy. She used her authority to go on there to make this point and allegations, full-on allegations, knowing that all that speech is protected, okay? Because what happens when when the position Nancy Mace is in? I want to get you it's called the Speech or Debate Clause of the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 6. It means a sitting member cannot be sued for defamation for what the member has said in that setting, and the setting being, let me get it right. It's protected by the Speech or Debate Clause. I'm trying to get you this information correctly here. Hold on. I want to get it right. The Speech or Debate Clause here. The speech delivered in her official capacity as a legislator is protected under the U.S. Constitution's Speech or Debate Clause, which shields lawmakers from legal repercussions for statements made during legislative activities. So that's a legislative activity, and she's talking about that, right? You could say, well, them's the rules, you're allowed. But what did she actually do? This case between her and Patrick Bryant is already being investigated. That's according to the same governor and the same administration that she's alleging gave her no help when she brought this to their attention. That's what they're saying. the South Carolina cops have look at New York Post. South Carolina cops have been investigating Representative Nancy Mace's explosive sexual assault claims against ex-fiancé since 2023. So something happens between them. It turns into it goes to law. It goes seemingly through proper channels, and is being investigated. Now, is that just them saying that after the fact? I don't know, but I'm just reporting the news. It's being investigated. And so you have to, the question for anybody scrutinizing this remains, well, if this is being properly dealt with, it's an ongoing case where both parties have open defamation cases against each other, because Patrick Bryant is denying all this, saying there was no rapes, no filming, no non-consensual videos, etc. He denies all these things. And it's not just him, by the way. It's Patrick Bryant and a number of other men. It's 4 men in total that Nancy Mace has this case against them. And this case has to do with, like I said, the allegations of rape and non-consensual videos is pretty explosive. And the defamation. Now, I want to be clear on this. The case between them, as far as I know, is about the defamation. The claims and allegations of rape and all that, as far as I know, are now being investigated by the SLED. And I don't know if it's because of what she's been saying. But as far as I know, the case between them is about defamation. So it gets even funkier if what Nancy Mace is doing, if this is what's happening, if she's making these allegations protected by the Constitution in her authority, but will not make those same allegations outside of that authority. That's, by the way, the allegation of Patrick Bryant. He's saying, if she's thinking she could say all these things about me, say it outside of that setting where you're protected constitutionally, where you would have to then go up against legal scrutiny. I mean, that's what they're saying. I'm just reporting the news. But understand, if that were true, that's really the explosive part, that she would want to make rape allegations where her speech is protected, but wouldn't want those same statements legally scrutinized. And this is a woman, Republican woman, using that authority in that way, and may almost even get away with it because of the world we're living in right now. You following so far? So she makes those claims. They have the defamation cases between them. The governor saying that's all being investigated. You have to wonder, what the heck is happening here, Nancy Mace? How about let things happen how they should? Why is it that you're now using this platform to say all these things about these people who you have this case about? And then on top of that, you're trying to put forth legislation about it. You know, she put out this video, that photo or whatever, where she said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you guys my naked body. And it's like supposed to be this big point, right? I'd say she's just getting a thrill. But hey, that's the anchor baby. She's going up there and telling them, showing them the naked body. Why does she do it? Because Patrick Bryant is denying all these claims. There was no rape and no non-consensual videos. She showed this image and she says, see, look at this, a non-consensual video. According to her, right? This is not a court. This is not a legal proceeding. There's no one representing anyone here where we could see the evidence. She's showing an image of what looks like a hidden camera or a security camera. It could be anything. And she's saying, this is what I'm telling you what it is. But using very vague language. We'll watch a bit of the clip in a moment. Very vague language. When stuff like this happens, freedom for women doesn't exist, right? It's like, well, hold on. I thought we were talking about you, Nancy Mace. And she shows that saying, see, Patrick said there were no non-consensual videos. If I have this image, this JPEG here, proving that that's false, that's just according to her, then his claims of rape, that he didn't rape, must be false too. That's literally what she's saying. And this is a representative of the country. You know, it seems egregious to me, right? Where are the lawyers? Someone help me here. This seems totally egregious, and it seems like the emperor is naked and nobody wants to say anything. Republicans aren't going to say anything. You see how everybody's weak to women? This is an abomination. This is the very abomination Jesse's been talking about. And, you know, just to be fair, I mean, the Patrick Bryant, he's saying, he's got his statement. He's saying, no, none of this happened. Like I said, just to give you the news, Fitz News is reporting his response to the entire thing. He categorically denies the outrageous claims. My mistake was loving and trusting someone who later weaponized our relationship. Nancy made these claims while standing in Congress, purportedly shielded by legal immunity. Multiple witnesses have provided statements and testified under oath. She is interfering with an ongoing SLED investigation in which I have fully cooperated. I mean, these are his statements. So blah, blah, blah. This is how women wield power, by the way. And this is an abomination. It's a charge on the Republican men. This shouldn't even be allowed. This should be stopped in its tracks. And then we have what seems to be female gooners talking about their rape fantasies, wanting to show her naked body to the floor, talking about getting raped and sex trafficked by someone who she called her ex-fiance. And then she wants to go with we run the world, we're the girls, we need the bills, we need the laws changed for us. And this is a Republican woman. So it's crazy to me. It's crazy. It's barbaric. It's like, whatever. Now I'm just rambling. But, you know, this is an abomination. This is like Moloch sacrificing children to pagan gods. This is like barbarian, tribal, like lie to get what you want. It's a corrupt third world country. And that's a white woman. You know what I'm saying? See, this is what I'm talking about. Lincoln Lewis is another one of these people who is disappointed. You know, they thought they were getting one thing from Nancy Mace, but it wasn't that. He's like, shut up, just show boobs already. Well, guess what, Lincoln Lewis? You got bogarted by Nancy Mace. I didn't even do it to you. She bogarted America. She bogarted America. Not only is she a gatekeeper in conservative Republican politics for feminism, she gatekept the sisters. She gatekept the sisters from America. And that's Lincoln Lewis. That's not even me. That's not even me. That's Lincoln Lewis. Anyways, and she's a liar. That's good. That's good. That's good too, Mark. So that's Nancy Mace for you. 888-775-3773. I ran off my callers there. Call me back. We'll get to you. You didn't like the Nancy Mace? The Nancy Mace segment? No cheers for Nancy Mace? Tax Cattle is also not paying attention, is hypnotized by Nancy Mace. This is what I'm talking about. This is the problem. He's saying, I've heard 1/10 of what Nick is saying. Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. Hypnotized by Nancy Mace. Hasn't heard a word what the man is saying. Is that not a commentary on what has happened to U.S. politics? Hasn't heard a single word what the man is saying. Hypnotized by the pink dress. Nancy Mace. Hell of a gal. All right, let's move it on here. Yes, another reason women shouldn't be in politics. Amazing. Show boobs already. After all this buildup, we better see. I'm scrolling up the chat, and you guys have not let me down. Amazing. I'm scrolling up the chat, and people are saying, after all, we better see some naked Nancy after all this buildup. But here's the thing. Here's why, you know, maybe I'm a judgmental person, right? Oh, This is an individual, a woman who thinks for herself. Even if this or that is true about men and women, they're different. She's still a person. She thinks for herself. She's motivated by more than just wanting to show the sisters off. Okay, Nick, you insane misogynist. It's like, yeah, you could say that, but why are there so many sultry pictures of Nancy Mace just go around? Like, she really likes taking these, and I'm not going to show them. But what's up with these women, like Lauren Boebert? Like, they get a little power, they get a little attention, and it's like, okay, who wants to see the sisters? You know what I mean? Blue worsted suits. Blue worsted suits is the only appropriate attire. Okay? This, too, might be maybe inappropriate. Hold on. Okay? We're trying to find you an example, but I'm picking through the archive of my mind, searching through X, a picture I saw. Will I find it? We're doing it live. This is the middle of a live show, not how you do things. Anyways, let's move on. Some people have, the men of America may need a lesson in dressing. So that's maybe a different topic, including me. I don't know. It's just whatever. They say the English taught the world how to dress. The first order of business. This is the I am sick of being around this beta politicians and can't wait home to de-stress. Is that what that face was? You guys are can you I'm sorry, this bald man 54 is making me laugh. Can you lend a Nicaraguan a pencil? That man should not have had all that negative attention. Thank you, Z. Appreciate all that, all the support. We'll get to super chats and all that. Hold on. All right, let's see here. Wait, is it? Chat is confusing me. I must be very gullible. I should read the whole sentence before having an emotional outburst. Nancy Mace married Curtis Jackson, not to be confused with 50 Cent. So that's obviously a troll. Okay. Very funny. Wait, Nancy Mace is, in fact, married to Curtis Jackson. Wait, what? Was married from 2004 to 2019. Was married to Curtis Jackson, not 50 Cent. Although the AI is telling me it is. It's obviously having some kind of schizophrenia issue, right? Curtis Jackson, Nancy Mace. Man, did he dodge a bullet? Because it says 2019. And I guess she was gonna remarry with this Patrick Bryant, and then turned out like this. Oh yeah, it looks like it is. Curtis Jackson, the second husband of Representative Nancy Mace, a Republican congresswoman from Connecticut. Mace was previously married to Chris. Whoa, even previous marriage than that? She's a black widow. She was previously married to Chris Niemiec. They divorced, and Mace then married Curtis Jackson, with whom she had 2 children. Their marriage ended in 2019. She tried to give it another go. So this is Chris Niemiec. See, I don't even know if this is actually their pictures. But she might be a bit of a black widow. And I'm just saying because, like, you go through multiple marriages. I hear the black widow spider, the female black widow spider, eats and kills their husband. That's not what I'm saying. But like a husband who has had multiple wives that all mysteriously disappear. In a similar way, none of these have disappeared, but I'm just saying Nancy Mace may be a bit of a black widow. You see, this is not. We've had a couple of lessons here in this short segment. Not only is this further proof women should stay out of politics and don't marry get involved with a woman that has been married before. Don't get involved with a woman, get married with a woman that has that kind of baggage, you understand? It's like even if... Anyways, that's a different point. Let me do some of these super chats. But seriously, actually, like multiple marriages, the signs are there. Way too excited to show the sisters. The signs are there. Multiple marriage, already has kids. Patrick Bryant. The signs were there. The signs were there, Patrick Bryant. Not to mess with Nancy Mace. Oh, but she's a representative. Oh, she's doing well. She's accolades, money. I don't know. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. You're taking too large of a risk. Much too great a risk. Unless you're doing like some hybrid thing where you're just like pretending. You're like, oh yeah, I'm with this woman. And but you're not marrying or having kids with her. You're just taking care of her kids. No, wait, actually, I hear that even those people can be in trouble. Because should you I hear even those people can get in trouble. Now, I don't want to give you bad info, so let me just move on. But the point is, if you can prove certain things in a court, let's say you have a prenup. I heard this one too. And so again, this is just something I heard. But consider a prenup. Consider this. Well, whatever. The point is, if a court can prove something, right? If a court can say, well, hey, I know you signed this document. I know you did this or that. I know you didn't marry her. I know you didn't get married, but you took care of this kid for years. It's basically your kid. You're on the hook. Okay, so moving on, because I'm not entirely sure, but I didn't want to just leave men with that. With that little point there, like, oh, you're just taking care of someone else's kids. You're not writing anything down on any document. You're not on the hook for anything. Actually, I'm not so sure about that. That's what I want to say. Moving on here. Moving on. Let's see here. We got some super chats from my lovely viewers. Thank you so much. All my supporters and all that. All my viewers on Rumble. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much, Jules, Gerda, and everybody. But my super chatters here, thank you. Starting it off here with Harmony. Thank you, Harmony says, God isn't fair, God is just. Trump is perfect. He brought these Christian Afrikaners in for a reason. Well, thank you, Harmony. Appreciate the super chat. There's a distinction between fairness and justice. What do y'all think about that? Are they one and the same? Are they distinct? Z, man, thank you for the support in the super chat. Says, making my day today. I'm glad to do it. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. Appreciate you always watching and the support. You had some good information. You had some good advice for the folks in the Discord the other day. You were telling them to make sure you floss and brush your teeth, your little teeths. It's going to be an expensive issue if you don't. So appreciate that, Z. Right on. Angban Art says, Nit, would you rather be a cowboy or a pirate? See, this is where I reveal the black in me, the anchor baby in me, the non-American me, the third worlder in me. I tend to like go with the pirate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's like, I don't know, just being outside of the, I guess cowboys were outside of the rules, but no, that's more like an outlaw, a bandit. So, although I disavow such things, I think I'd have more fun being a pirate. But hey, that's just like one side of me. The I don't know, the Cortez in me would rather see order. But cowboys are in order. If you ask me, would I rather be a conquistador or a knight or whatever, something like, or a pirate? Maybe that'd be a different question. But so pirate, I guess, ain't bad art. Z with the super chat with a little weight, little weights in the chat. Shout out. Are you making the gains? Are you still John Gawains? Will we see the return of John Gawains? Just do strong lifts. Honestly, just rock strong lifts until you can't. If you know anything about strong lifts, 5x5. Fairness is the enemy of justice. I made that up. You can have it. I feel like I've heard that though before, Kevin Howe. I'm thinking I may have heard that. Fairness is the no. What did I hear? What I've heard is perfection is the enemy of progress. That's what I've heard. Fairness is the enemy of justice. That's cute. The UK was a pirate too. U.S. Marines were founded because of pirates. Okay, cool. Right on. All right, let's move it on here because there was an amazing moment between Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa, the South African president. He met with Trump, and Trump he used this. He used this moment. I think took advantage of this moment. I'm sure many have questions for Cyril Ramaphosa, especially for many who may have never even thought about South Africa or any of this, and are being educated, etc. about it. I'm sure even they. How can you not? You've heard intense allegations coming from the president himself of the United States, designating the Afrikaner as giving them refugee status, bringing in 59 of them. You've seen, you've heard, controversial for some. And so anyway, that's all that. I'm sure many have questions. And it was sooner than I thought. I didn't even know if this would happen, but I'm glad to see it. Now we're seeing President Donald Trump in the Oval Office, that was earlier today, talking to the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, who showed up in the spirit of diplomacy, as it's being reported, concerning the designation of refugee to those individuals. You could say diplomatic ties between the two countries has frayed a bit, because in there lies an accusation to the ANC and the sitting government of at the very least inaction to all the way support in part or in whole of this alleged, I'd say it is, attack and what some call genocide even of the white South Afrikaner. And in response to that, he had, before arriving to the Oval Office, made a public, put out the ANC put out essentially a response. And the response was interesting. I have brought this up a few times, but essentially the story goes, to crudely summarize, the whites had South Africa under control under apartheid, but now it's over. And basically it's been a constant, you gotta give me that, because this bad thing happened in the past ever since. And and the politicians and the political parties outwardly express this. They express how the vast majority of farmland is owned by whites, and that mere relationship is an enduring relic, whatever they call it, and it's something enduring from apartheid that has to be dealt with. Now the world will say, the intellectuals of the world will say, the international courts of the world will say, and are saying, that all that is happening legislatively, because they're voting for it and have a government in place, and they're sitting in a building with 4 walls built by white people. That's okay. That is sanctioned and just and rational. Well, others disagree, like President Trump, and he said what he has got to say about it. But when you examine, right, like I was crudely summarizing the story here, apartheid's over and they're continuously getting their justice, as they call it. When you arrive to the plight of the South African who has left, now let's get very specific here and zoom in on the ones that have left, calling themselves refugees. In response to that, this Cyril Ramaphosa said, well, he denies first this accusation, right? Calling them refugees is, in that of itself, besides what has already been said, is an accusation against the government. So that is a full denial coming from the ANC and Cyril Ramaphosa. And that's par for the course, right? We can argue that infinitely, all day. Well, no, it's not a refugees. Nothing like that is happening. Well, what about these people yelling, kill the Boer? But that's just some people. Well, what about, why aren't you dealing with all that? Oh, well, that's the crime is it's hurting everyone. So you could do that endlessly. But Cyril and his people are saying, on the charge of their refugee status itself, it's just not true. But they don't stop there. That's what's fascinating to me. They don't stop there. They express in that same statement that these refugees that are not only are they not refugees, they deny that designation because of what it means, what you're calling us, the ANC and the South Africans and the ruling party. Besides what that means and us denying that, those people are running away from a justice, they say, a sort of justice. You have to sit back and examine what it is they even in the realm of possibilities, what they could even be getting at. Imagine for a moment they're owning land. Well, they're gone from the land. They're literally gone. So, again, they're really saying it is to punish them, right? It is to punish them, and the world would sanction it. They would sanction it. It would be to place them in jail, whatever it is. Because they got apartheid's over. They got the land. They left. What could it be then? Besides denying the charge that Trump is putting on them, which if you had not examined the details of it and you were just like a dumb intellectual, you would say, oh, well, so far on that, they should be allowed to defend themselves on that. Well, then, why would you then go above and beyond and basically tell the world that you need those people back to punish them? Now, again, you might disagree. You might say, well, to punish them legally, in a justified manner, through the courts, for the crime of what? Again, you have to examine these things. And you could sit on the fence, I guess, but you'd have to not examine these things. Once you do, you kind of have to, not take a side, but I'm not asking you to fight for anybody, but put it like this. Should these people be put in jail and justified because it was done through a legal basis? You'd be okay with that. You'd also be justifying that in a sense here. But like, what would be the crime, right? These people had land that their ancestors had or whatever, and now they don't. So it's done. So anyway, so that was just kind of like a little point that I keep bringing up that for me is a revelatory point concerning the actual thinking, despite what they may say and present, the true thinking of this ANC and the ruling parties over there in South Africa. So that's all that. That's all the precursor. He shows up. Cyril Ramaphosa shows face and to me what is almost like it's just brazen, you know. You got to be a communist. You honestly have to be just a off the deep end radical communist type person to kind of show face, to show face anyways, you know what I mean? To have stadiums and videos just of politicians, of previous leaders of the very same party you're in. Stadiums, full on stadiums filled with people rabid and yelling out and screaming this song, kill the Boer, kill the white, kill the farmer. The Boer. That's who they're talking about. They're talking about the white. Who do you think is the Boer? and then to show face anyways and show up to President Trump and basically with the plan to say, guys, calm down, okay? We're expropriating their land and all that legally, okay? We banged the gavel and signed the paper, okay? We're allowed to kill them. I mean, not for now, like we said, but maybe later. It's on the table. It's on the table, but why are you guys tripping? Why is Trump tripping? He literally went and did that. I'm so glad that Trump handled it the way he did. I'm about to show you some video because, you know, in these conversations, in the Oval Office, in the world of politics, you know, everybody tries to be very careful with their words and legalistic. Like, okay, hold on, we got to be careful what we say when we make certain assertions, and that's fair and that's fine. I do that on my show. It's proper. But when it concerns the truth, the burning truth, that anger is evil, that these people hate these white people, that these people are denying it and dressing up white destruction, hate, etc., whatever, genocide. I hate these terms anyways, and dressing it up and justifying it with words and all that to cut right through that is the truth, even if you're inaccurate and all that. So when it comes to the matters of truth and love, it seems to me like Trump lets go of that, of this legalistic and being particularly accurate, and it's so important because it's in these moments that sorry about that. It's these moments that it has to happen, right? It can't happen later. Cyril Ramaphosa is in front of you right now, and trying to say that you're lying about what's happening to the white South Afrikaner. So here, let's just watch a little bit of this. We got some random clips here that the Daily Mail is put together on their difficult to use website. Jeez, and I'm sure these are delicious as I continue here. Okay. Cyril, moment Trump shows Cyril Ramaphosa some clips. Moment Trump shows clips to South African President Cyril Ramaphosa that purported to show evidence of white genocide in his country. He's showing them the Kill the Boer. He's showing them the Kill the Boer video.
Articles, please, if you would. And
watch, you can't see.
Turn the lights down.
You can't even see. Hold on. He's showing them the Kill the Boer video, and Cyril Ramaphosa is laughing. He's laughing. Look. Shoot to kill.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from
the president. We're going to take your land. We don't care. This is what the video is saying. Cyril Ramaphosa is laughing. He's literally laughing. We're going to occupy South African land. I remember this video. I've shown you this video before. So here's what Cyril Ramaphosa responds with. I've been hearing this little line being thrown around by the intellectuals and the white haters who justify white anti-white bias, genocide, etc.
We don't care. We can do whatever.
Look what he says. He says this is just a fringe political party. That's not even us.
You to tell us whether we can occupy land or not.
They cut it off, but Cyril began to say, probably in another one of these clips you'll hear him, because Trump's response to it is perfect. So hopefully it's maybe in the next one. We must never be scared to kill, is what Cyril Ramaphosa is laughing about, chortling in delight, like as if this is some fringe video Trump is playing. I'm going to laugh derisively because this guy really thinks that South Africans really feel this way. There's a stadium, sir. This is a video of a whole stadium of them. At some point, there must be killing, because the killing is part of the revolution. That's what he's saying. Shoot to kill, and he starts singing again. Cyril, are you sweating? Cyril, are you sweating? That's a smile of discomfort, if anything. This is such a dad moment from Trump, says Aaron. And I'm going to get to my calls here. Appreciate your calls, 888-775-3773. If I may, let me wrap this up here, because I pretty much had to say what I had to say about it. It's just I had a number of links here that I'm sure I saved for myself for a good reason. Let me begin by just reading this Daily Mail article. I'm thinking something was in here that was important, and I'm going to get right to my callers right after this. It reads here, President Donald Trump put on a stunning shaming in the Oval Office Wednesday, showing clips to the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa that purported to show evidence of white genocide in his country. Ramaphosa came to the White House Wednesday hoping to improve South Africa's relationship with the Trump administration. Trump previously canceled aid to the country, that was back in February if you remember, and offered refuge to white minority Afrikaners. Trump claimed that there was a race-based genocide unfolding in the African nation. The South African-born Doge leader Elon Musk agreeing. Musk stood among the reporters in the Oval Office when the dramatic showdown went down, similar to what met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ramaphosa came Wednesday to soothe things, telling Trump at the top of their remarks that he brought him a golf book and had worked on his golf game. Oh. He had championed golfers, so he's talking about golfers. Who cares, Ramaphosa? In turn, Trump humiliated Ramaphosa, asking aides to dim the lights in the Oval Office as he played a supercut of speeches from economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema, whose trademark song at rallies is "Shoot the Boer, Shoot the Farmer." Trump then pulled out a pile of news clippings, including a story from Daily Mail about why South Africans are fleeing violence and racist laws. The Mail's report detailed the white South African now farming in Arkansas and making better money because black empowerment policies have put white job applicants at the back of the line. So that's a bit of Daily Mail for you. Now, what else was it about this? I think I had something else about this article. I think it was just more of this footage. I'm really about to get to calls here. Because it was one of these responses, if I may, because like I said, the argument is these are just radicals. Julius Malema singing the Kill the Boer song. If I can remind you, the previous leader of the ANC, the ruling party now, it was out there yelling this songs too. And on top of that, Trump response, which I don't have the clip, was perfect. You know, he's saying those are just that's a different party. And Trump says, well, why didn't you put them in jail? Why didn't you investigate and charge these people that are out there in the stadium? And I'm paraphrasing a bit, but he essentially said this: why didn't you go after them? Why was this allowed? Why do you have a stadium of people yelling this? This Cyril Ramaphosa says we have a he said something like we have a multi-party system in South Africa where people are allowed to express themselves. And it's just that's your classic democracy language they use even here, which I need someone to prove to me that a founding father would be speaking in the same way. That's just free speech. Okay, so you should be allowed to just yell, kill white people, and etc. You know, I'm sure there's free speech and all that has its place there in some way, shape, or form, but not how we're being told. You know, the spirit of it is wrong, and you got these people telling Trump, "Hey, we have a multi-party system in South Africa, okay? And you know what? We got the Kill the Boer party, and like this is a person in a suit supposed to be telling you this is a civilized person in a civilized society. Like, heck no. And you know what? Trump's not even saying you can't have your uncivilized society. I'm just saying, in my opinion, this is what's happening to those in your uncivilized society, and we'll be willing to take these people that you don't even want, and you want to take their stuff and all that. We'll be willing to take them. Now, you're mad that we're calling them refugees. Fine, you can make your stink and say deny it all you want. But that's the story, right? That's what's happening. Argument over the details. So anyways, what else about this? Shall we just one more clip here and then see what this was a good one, and then we'll get to calls? Here he was showing him, that's an ad, showing him evidence. You got evidence.
Few days. Death of people. Death.
Incredible.
Horrible death.
Death. He's like, oh, sir, I worked on my golf game, by the way. I'm looking forward to these talks. This is like before the cameras are rolling. I guess, by the way, I was working on my golf game. I'm looking forward to these talks and for the future of America and South African relations. Great. Cameras are rolling. So, by the way, you want to explain why all this death, and more death is happening in your country?
I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. But this is a tremendous, look, this is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed. And I don't know how it can get any worse.
So there's some of the claims they're making, some of the claims that Cyril Ramaphosa is making. In another clip, he says, the charge is basically that, I think it was even in response to that. He's showing him all this destruction in these articles. The response to that is, well, this criminality affects all South Africans. And in fact, Cyril Ramaphosa even says to Trump in the clip I saw that this affects black South Africans actually more disproportionately. Here, look at his face. Look at the picture of his face while I'm talking. Wide-eyed. A part of him must have expected this and must have known, but that's how the communist is. You have to go into those spaces anyways and just lie. You have to go in straight. That he pretty much has to, but I have to wonder how he was feeling. I wonder how he was feeling lying so brazenly. I wonder if this picture expresses that a little bit. But that's what he has to do, and that's the kind of the playbook of the communists. And I'm using that word maybe ignorantly, but consider the spirit is working through all these kind of evil people that think like this. And this is kind of a known strategy. You have to kind of know this if you're going to operate like Cyril Ramaphosa. And what it is you have to go into this challenge that Trump has put out, and you have to go in head first and just brazenly lie like times a million. Like, don't even, like the lie has to be complete and encompassing so that you can continue fooling your South Africans. But it has to be complete. You have to say it brazenly, wide-eyed, in his face. That's how the communist operates. And so what else was I saying about this? It was in response to this. He says something so interesting. He's like, the black South African is actually disproportionately affected by this criminality that affects all people. It's not just against the white South Africans, Trump. You're missing the whole point. This is a societal problem that we're all working together to fix. Have you heard some of that before? I bet you've heard some of that before. Draw your parallels to whatever society you want. But take in that in that comment alone, the Cyril Ramaphosa is revealing that it is a mistake to get rid of the white. Well, I don't know if they were ever a majority, but it was actually, in fact, a mistake to take their land, their farm, and whatever authority and power they had. Now, I'm not saying bring back apartheid. Like, I really don't know. I'm not an ignorant person. I'm ignorant is what I'm trying to say. But put it like this. He's revealed himself. He's like, hold up, Trump. This criminality you're talking about, people getting raped and murdered, their stuff taken, robbed, and all that, it's affecting all people. And by the way, it's affecting black South Africans disproportionately. Yeah, just look at an American hood, an American black neighborhood. Blacks are disproportionately affected by it. And it's funny that your country is falling apart, that your own black, your constituents of the ones that you're supporting, of in this case black, are suffering in your beautiful country of restorative justice. What a great example for the world. So that's pretty much my spiel on that. Let me get to my calls here, 888-775-3773. Oh, man, we just lost you. Apologies there. I was just about to get to my calls there. Did you hang up? That's pretty much the spiel, but just look at him. Tell me where I'm wrong. 888-775-3773. That's the business. That's the whole spiel. And that's pretty much it. Okay? I mean, this is brazen. Just so brazen going to Trump like that. But yeah. But that's it. That's it, I think. I believe that's it. You saw Elon Musk was giving him the death stare. Elon Musk, he's South African, right? He gets it, right? Where was it? They had this video of Elon Musk just death staring at Cyril Ramaphosa. But anyways, I want to get to let me see here. I believe we got a beautiful caller here. Hold on, folks. I'm just misreading this. All right, we'll get back to that. All right, 888-775-3773. What are y'all saying? Am I crazy? I'm nuts? Africans be like, how dare you bring up my public actions? I will never forgive you. What are y'all thinking? Africans usually take behavior like Trump's to be disrespect. You're making me think of something, Aaron, like something I heard about African culture, at least in some areas, about what respect means. But anyways. Hey, I wanted to see that ad. He just tosses the papers. Yeah. Was that the Cyril Ramaphosa just not too happy? Like, okay, let's move on. Calm down. Let's okay, yeah. That's cute. Look at him. Is you scared? We got Chris out of Florida. Appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Oh, hello. How you guys doing? And I enjoy the show, but I just wanted to make a quick comment about that man that was sitting next to Trump. He did all that for clout, and it was just all about clout.
Right.
Yeah, just look at him. I don't know. Pull right up. Just look at his face.
Yeah.
It's clout, man. He's like trying to be like, look how important I am. I am the Nelson Mandela. Look at me.
Right. No, I totally get that vibe.
Me. Yeah, look at the tie. Red tie. My tie matches Trump. We're the same power. No way, dude. Trump was like, kind of like, you see his body language, how his leg was like, get the hell out of here. I'm sorry.
No, I get the same impression in that, like I was saying, this is the playbook. Of course he would show up. Now, one would think, no, why would he ever do this? But the radicals playbook, it has to work like this. He has to say the biggest, most brazen lie to the biggest audience as possible.
Yes, indeed. You got it. This is all planned. Even Trump, I bet you this was planned like weeks and weeks ago. They knew they were going to have this opportunity.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing if they had that kind of foresight.
That guy come out or whatever yelling and stuff. I'm sorry. I don't.
No, you're good.
I don't want to feel any bust his thunder, but yeah, go ahead and get to the next call, man. The show's awesome, and I hope Hake continues. Quit being beta and stay healthy.
Nice.
My best to Derek and everybody. All right.
Thank you, man. Appreciate the support, Chris. Call me again.
All right.
Nice. 888-775-3773. Had a couple calls there. You can call me back. I'll get to you. But what was I saying? You get it. It's like this was the playbook. He had to say the biggest lie to the biggest audience possible. But I'm still glad that Trump did it. This was still the right thing. I'm so glad it was only it would only be the right thing if it was handled the way Trump did it. Now, no hemming and hawing, no, okay, well, maybe you're kind of right about this. Okay, well, I didn't get you on that. Let me refer to my notes. What's a good point? A well-tailored response that's both factual and accurate but gets to the heart of things. It's like, no. I don't know. You guys hate white people. You guys hate white people. You hate them. You hate them and you're trying to kill them. You're trying to take their land. You're trying to do it all for this political genocidal gain thing, okay? So obviously it was great. It was great. It had to be done. If anything, it'd be even more awesome. It'd be awesomer. No, wait. It would be even greater if his team, if the Trump team had the foresight to know, well, you know what? Let's invite him because these communist type people, these white hate or whatever, he wouldn't be able to hold off. He wouldn't be able to control himself. He would see that opportunity and be like, of course he would show up. Let's invite him. Let's, in fact, extend the invitation knowing that it would be his downfall, unable to say no. That would be even more amazing. Cyril Ramaphosa. In a sense, predictable, right? These people, they're really in another sense quite predictable, and in that sense, shouldn't be underestimated. It's really the only reason. It's really their only victory condition. Underestimation. Put it like this: the tactics of the Cyril Ramaphosa, of the ANC, of the dividing the races. It's always the same, right? It's lie, brazenly, even when it's obvious, stick to it. Just like a demonic sticking to your guns. Bring up things the opposition doesn't know about. Confuse. Hide, obfuscate. When revealed, go to something else. What I'm getting at is these types, the only way they get any power politically, etc., is it's expressed in their tactics by brute force. So what has to be done? A true complete opposition. That's all it would take. A complete opposition, as any hemming and hawing and being somewhat in agreement is the only victory condition for this type of thinking, that kind of spirit. And so therein lies the answer. Why does it have any foothold in America? Because there's no one fighting it. There is no Republican. There is no men. You got Nancy Mace, for God's sake. So there's no men. There's nobody fighting it. If the only victory condition for these types and their thinking and all that, as you can see in their methodology, which is just brute force, it would just be complete opposition. That's all it would take. So the conclusion is what? There is no opposition in the American government. It seems to me like the only one bringing up any noise in the stink is Trump himself, as you know. And even then, many wish him to be even more perfect. And I understand it, right? Some have some pretty high IQ criticisms in that, I didn't think about it, etc. But they wish him to be even more perfect. But hey, isn't that a commentary on America and the public? So anyways, what else about this? Moving on, I think, from Ramaphosa. I think so, right? Moving on from all this. Thank you, Aaron, with the super chat. Says it's amazing because most Africans think that whites are sneaky, cheating conquerors. And so they think that's the only way to beat them at their own game. Talk about the kettle and the pot, bruh. A poignant super chat, Aaron. Thank you, man. Absolutely. We got some more super chats here. Amazing super chats. Z, thank you, sir. Z Pie, I think. Z Pie. Z Pied. Thank you, says. By the way, Nick, Discord is making a video game ROM hacks of Doom 1 featuring JLP's likeness. I'm realizing my own judgment of my own Discord. In that, upon seeing this super chat, my first reaction was incredulity. Meaning, my Discord, really? They can't do that. Revealing my own judgment. I didn't know I had such talented, smart, beautiful, courageous, intelligent, and lovely people at my Discord. I didn't judge you guys that hard, but thank you, Z. Appreciate the super chat. Check out the Discord. Link is in the description. People have fun there. And all, you guys make all sorts of stuff. All sorts of cool things here. So I'll definitely be paying attention to that. Very cool. Doom 1 featuring JLP. JLP out there destroying demons. What's the setting of Doom 1? What's the actual setting of Doom 1? Is it like demons and castles? Because that would be awesome. JLP defeating the Children of the Lie with a shotgun in a video game. Doom 1 it's a futuristic science fiction horror. Okay, so I didn't know that. I didn't know Doom was always like that. At its core, it's always been like a futuristic science fiction horror environment as opposed to like demonology and Dante's Inferno and Layers of Hell. And because I was thinking that was a direction the newest Doom could have gone. It would have been a pretty interesting direction and would have been definitely different. And I think would have gotten like attention in a cool way concerning the climate, so to speak. But it seems to be like that's always been kind of the vibe, huh? It's futuristic. The demons in Doom are kind of like maybe they came through like a interdimensional portal as opposed to like a portal to hell itself. Is that the vibe of Doom? Galactic portal, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference between an intergalactic portal and a portal between the realm of the living realm and hell? Let's be real. Let's for real. Like, as a real question, sincere question. Sincere question. Like, for real. Is it just semantics? Come on. The difference between an intergalactic portal and an interdimensional one. Come on. Nick, have you played Alan Wake 2? It's super woke and fun. Nope. I'm not familiar with that at all. No, that was a question, Chris. Chris is saying, exactly, Nick. No, that was a question. What's the difference between... one of them actually sticks, the other closes. Huh. One portal will stick and the other portal will close. They basically found a portal to hell in space. That makes sense, Chris, if that's the vibe of the Doom games. Anyways, that'd be cool to see. We're definitely going to be watching for that. JLP in the Doom universe. You guys are amazing. Let's see here. Now, I wanted to do this. Now, how do we do this? I'm going to leave this for tomorrow. How about that? We don't have time for that. We do not have time for all that. Shall we, in the last few minutes of the show, how about we just do this? Concerning Father's Day as it's coming up. Pardon. You know, Father's Day is coming up. Oh, wait. I have to vacate the studio soon. No, okay, we still have time for this. But I do have to vacate the studio shortly. Trump and Nick, energy given by God. Amazing. Thank you, Lord Spike Protein. You know, I'm noticing I honestly don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of time, folks. So how about we just browse through the viewer content on my Discord server for all the lovely viewers who left us some viewer content in the last few minutes of the show. I'm going to leave the rest of my segments and stuff for tomorrow since we don't really have that kind of time. We got barely 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. What are you guys even posting here? You can be part of the Discord. It's in the description, the link if you know anything about Discord. Oh. Whoa. This is fascinating. Yay HH 60s Motown mix.
Man, these people took my kids from me, then they closed my bank account. I got so much anger in me, got no way to take it out.
What? Now they made a Motown version of that? We got to stop that, by the way. Oy vey, shut it down. Oy vey, shut it down. But, you know, I got so much anger in me, got no way to take it out. I mean, honestly, it's funny that I left all my segments for tomorrow. It actually had to do with this song. But we'll leave it for tomorrow. Moving on. What's this? Are these photos taken by some of our viewers? Is this someone in a plane? Are you guys feeling plane sick? Oh, no, that's a balcony. That's the balcony of someone's building. This looks amazing. This looks incredible. Maybe I shouldn't be showing... Don't... Be careful. Don't dox yourself in the viewer content. I'll try and be careful. This looks like someone took that, and it could be someone's home. So be careful. Don't dox yourself in the viewer content section of my Discord, because you just never know, right? If I'm going to be perusing it on stream. Okay, what is this? You guys heard me. You guys were wondering if on the question of cowboy versus pirate. Some of you out there knew. I would wish a Holy Roman order, a Holy Catholic order above both of those. You know me. You didn't. Whoever did that. That's incredible. Whoever made that. Falconing? Was this your work? Falconing, was this your work? Amazing. Absolutely incredible. I'm afraid to play these audios.
Those who know do not talk. Those who talk do not know. Stop talking.
Oh.
Harmony.
We'll leave it at that. Incredible. We're just going through viewer content here. Speaking of golf, speaking of Cyril Ramaphosa working on his golf game in hopes that it would improve his diplomatic relations with Trump. Sorry. Once it's up, it's stuck. Okay. Was that good?
I think she's up and stuck.
That sounds bad.
I mean, I seen something. I saw something.
Who's that? I saw something. I feel like I recognize these people.
Huh?
Huh?
Nah.
She black.
Not with my eyes. Not with my eyes, I can't.
Very cool. Birdie Bound Brian rocking the golf game. I'm sure would be a much better diplomatic use with the president should he ever meet him. Very cool. My viewers, my members on Discord are real people. They're real people. They're real. They're real human beings. And I love it. Thank you for being a part of it. All right, folks, I got to vacate the studio. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Did I dox somebody? I hope you enjoyed today's show. Take care. That's it from me. We did the super chats, the calls, the topics, and all of that, okay? So I'll be back tomorrow. It's Bible Thumper Thursday on the JLP show. We love it. And the rest of the network. Okay, folks, I'm out for now. For real this time. Let me say goodbye. Bye. Take care. See you tomorrow.